So there was another space that you were in. They were saying that they had devolved.
Yes, very much so.
I definitely.
It was like Drag Race, like Untucked, just worse. Thank you for hosting this one.
Yeah, hopefully we can talk about the actual like current events because
Hmm.
there's a few people that have some preferred topics that tend to dominate in spaces, and it's old.
Yes. And you know what? It's like I know that they're narcissistic and or self-absorbed or whatever, just self-centered in some way. It's like, okay, I know this, but it's unbelievable how unchanged it is. Like no matter what's going on, no matter what's being talked about, no matter what is said, such strong drive for self. Oh, it's my baby. Hi. Yeah.
Especially with the whole Hendrix gate going all week. I
Oh
mean,
my God. Yeah.
there seems to be some sort of cluster B convention happening in Canada. I've heard rumor.
I heard about that. That's the other thing too, is like once you're in enough spaces now, I realize this. I could just pop in and the same people will be talking about the same things. Like you could put money on it. You're like, oh, okay, this person's in here. This conversation's going to be happening over and over and over
It's
again.
a Leona. Just count down till when the topic of his bisexuality comes up and the unique edges of it.
Yes, and everyone of these people, these personalities, has their own preferred topics, and it's pretty. Yeah, the force is strong. And what I just wonder is if how do they not get tired of it?
Well, they're stunted mentally, and so they haven't noticed that they do that yet. Each time they talk about it, it's because it's still objectively interesting and worth talking about, or they just enjoy the attention sometimes.
Mm, it didn't occur to me
And it's
that
like asking how come he keeps stroking himself that way. It's because it keeps feeling good.
oh my god, I can't. But yeah, but Maya just popped in and was like, kind of like berated everybody on the depravity of it all when I left. But I
I
hope
like
all the
that the
ketamine
new storyline is that no, the gay trans furry boyfriend actually helped the police, and he was somehow critical to catching the guy that was already caught because his dad turned him into a marshal who was his pastor. For the record, trans furry boyfriend played no role in catching him and only cooperated with police, which I think is kind of required, you know. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
I noticed that too. I was like, what is going the narcissism runs just so strong. It's like a it's like a group. I don't know. I think like there must be some sort of entrance exam that like proves to be in this group you have to be like a certain amount of narcissistic.
well, it's kind of like when you come to the watering hole, you expect to see thirsty people. Like spaces are a little bit about that for some people. It's feeding some sort of unmet need. Um, but yeah, no. Here's my theory for what's going to end up coming out eventually is that there is a Zizian like conspiracy, and this guy either like was a willing fall guy, or they convinced him to, that you'll shoot him, and then we look similar enough, or some elaborate thing, and then the guy just got recognized. He got made by his dad, but I really doubt he acted alone.
And when you say that, do you feel like the accomplices are just other people, individuals in his community, or do you think it's something like larger kind of plot?
Oh, I definitely think it's something larger. I don't think there's that many people in that subculture. Like Orem is not a very big town. It's coincidentally the same town that my friend that's been having the mental episode the last couple weeks, is also in. So when this first happened, I was like, "Oh my god, did he actually do the thing that we've been worried about him doing for like years and years?" Um, during one of these episodes because he's not himself at all, and he does get kind of fixated on that idea of like, "Oh, I'm gonna have some big grandiose statement made somehow," and he just loses track of what's legal. But it wasn't him, so there's that. That was the unexpected good news this week. An assassination in Orem, Utah, and my friend wasn't involved. So you gotta take the silver lining when you can.
I live in Colorado, and we had a shooting at a school here as well around the same time, if not the same day. And the news, police, whoever, all the people, they won't release the information about. They just keep saying that the shooter was radicalized, and it's like the same kind of verbiage with the Charlie Kirk shooter. Um, Except with this case here, there's nope, they won't release any information more than that, which I think is kind of odd. Like, what you're gonna say that the person was radicalized? I think even they said online, but they don't say by who. It's weird.
Yeah, it's creepy when they don't really give their evidence for it because it makes you think that like there is something really big that they just don't want the general public to know about. So they don't want to like direct people towards those online organized radicalist networks by saying, what kind of radicalization they offer. But at the same time, they also will hide like Islamic attacks. Like the Pulse nightclub was not really an anti-gay attack; it was Islamic terrorism. But we weren't allowed to know that at the time. It's a big secret. Instead, we were expected to denounce people like Charlie Kirk for being homophobes. I'm sorry, they're not the same.
Yep, it's infuriating, and it just always makes me ask the question, like, why is this group or this topic being like protected? You know what I mean? It's it doesn't really. I feel like that, like there needs to be a motivation for a news organization or a local, police or whatever to like if they're going to be divulging and keeping some information, and it's like why they do that. There's a motivation that would you would think like whatever they have a reason. So it always kind of irks me a little bit. Like, why are you protecting the image of radical terrorist Islam? Or like, why, you know? It just doesn't compute that there would be like an altruistic motivation.
It's just I feel like the this time last week I was just a completely different person. There's just been so much unfolding. Um, how do you feel about like that attack that was on the Ukrainian refugee? Because it's also it's hard to believe that all this stuff is just so random.
I know. And then, but around September 11th, too, like I really have been having that thought that, like, if there is some really big, more strategic source of all this going on, that it would just kind of make sense to be like boom, boom, boom after each other to create more. It's one of the tenets of like defining something as terrorism, to make it so big and noticeable for the sake of something, for some effect, That one, I mean, I feel like that the week was just crazy, and then the school shooting was right near me. And then there was a shooter. They didn't actually shoot anybody, but there was a shooter walking around an elementary school, just like in my county. With about Irina and the same stabbing on the train, like that hit me hard too. I mean, I'm taking the Charlie Kirk murder the worst, but I take public transportation, and I used to deal with PTSD, used to be agoraphobic back in the day, and I kinda felt those, like today was the first day I've been back on the bus since then. So, personally, I mean, it just, feels I don't know. The country's just become so newly, like, racially divided, and there's just I feel like some regression going on, and, like, that didn't help, and instead of it, I feel like you would hope, you would want for it to bring out, like, the best in people, but I don't know if it's just my small perspective of, like, seeing people on Twitter and Twitter kinda housing, like, the worst of the worst sometimes, sharing their opinions, but everything just seems like in the terms of the reactions, feels like a little regressive and, like there's I was reading a long time ago, I don't remember if it was, like, a very credible study, but the what the people were saying was that they believed empathy to be developed, like, as we're growing from children into adults, like, empathy is developed when we have, free time to imagine, like, mental free time, and that the, like, iPad kid generation, so these Gen Xers now are, like, probably, I think, the first generation to have their entire life where they never actually, like, got a chance to be bored and have thought of their own and, like, just sit there and, like, wonder, and, like, part of me all this week, with everything has just really been in seeing everyone's reactions, wonders if, like, as humans, we're starting to sort of develop like, incorrectly because of the massive amount of, like, constant, um, input. So, yeah, I'm talking too much. That's my thought on that. Because it doesn't I asked older family members if, like, people who were opposed to JFK were so did they react in the way people are acting now? Like, just if they were completely opposed to him, and, what my family members told me is, like, no, that this way that people are reacting now is new. So, I just wonder, like, if they're kind of broken from the way that they've grown up, and if that's the case, if that's fact, if people are, like, actually unable to have, like, a conscience. Oh, my baby, I need to go.
Yeah, to kind of respond to that, like having worked with a lot of kids, in my career, um, I feel like the pandemic had a bigger impact on a lot of them, especially those at the critical age where they were supposed to be forming social relationships in person, and having experiences that then form a lot of the basis for like metaphor. And so I worry that had a big impact. Um, the screens themselves, I also I question if that's how much of an impact that is, because I think that until kids develop past a certain point, screens are actually not very interesting to them. So I don't know that the screens are going to disrupt them getting over that hurdle that they would need to get to. But I do think that it can really affect their attention span if they haven't been guided and supported in certain kind of collaborative activities, joint attention activities. And I think that a lot of people don't really know how to recognize that or how to intervene to support that skill. And since it's the foundation for most other kinds of learning, it really can handicap some of these kids to not understand how to do that, and it can make their other issues look much worse than they maybe are. So they might look lower functioning than they are, but it's actually not. Doesn't take much to bring them back up, but they're not going to get there from an iPad. If anybody else would like to come up and give your thoughts on this or other topics, welcome to. I just can't believe that everything that has come out in the last few days. I mean, I think we're all still really reeling from Hendrix's big retransition announcement. Certain situation. Hey, Jerry, thanks for coming up.
I can only stay a minute. It's well after 12 here. But I don't know if you
Mhm.
that there was a shooter the same day, a trans shooter in Colorado.
Really?
The
The shooter
same
in the school was also trans?
another yeah, another shooter.
Wow.
My friend Karen Kennedy came on about that. She lives in Colorado, and they were
I
covering
hadn't
up
heard
the
that
fact.
update.
Yeah, that one was trans. She came on with me the other day, actually, after the
It
shooting there.
seems really coordinated.
Yeah, they've covered up the fact that that one is also connected to the trans community or whatever as well, and they're not putting that in the news or anything like that.
Are you talking
So
about the Evergreen High School shooting?
I think so.
That shooter
I'm
was
not
not
sure which
Yeah.
one.
well, okay.
I think that might have been in Colorado, right?
Yeah, that was the one that happened by me. That was not a transgender shooter at Evergreen. But
Uh, when she came on here, she was talking about. I'm not. I might not have the right location. She lives in Colorado, and she said Colorado. So
we do
I don't
have
know the area.
I think there was also an elementary school shooting in Colorado, right?
That
Or
might be
because
true.
there was like a high school on the same day and then an elementary school, I think the following day.
yeah, what I heard about the elementary school was that somebody was like I don't think they actually started it. They didn't shoot anyone that but they were like reported being seen walking around and then they got picked up. So
Yeah,
maybe that was the one.
yeah.
But we do
I
have like a
don't know
trans
any of the details about it. So it's there's a lot of mental illness out there these days. I tell you that.
and let me just say real quick,
It's-
at Colorado, like we do have like a mental illness trans problem here. I know for a fact because like trans people in Colorado have told me this that they moved here specifically to the state because, and I didn't verify this, but what I'm told is that all the trans like laws that benefit trans people have been like codified. They're set in stone. They're in the state constitution. So it's not even just like, oh, what is the trans population in Colorado, but we have a larger trans population of, that the group
Are
is
they
bigger
letting
and
more
getting
guys
bigger.
play in women's sports there?
Oh, yeah, it's awful. Like there was like a man taking pictures and like in the girls' dressing room of under the stalls and stuff, and this lady like caught him trying to do it to her daughter, and she put him in a headlock, and the cops came and were just like, oh, you know what? Like nothing gets done about it. Like it's I think it's like the worst here.
And they cover up the numbers, in terms of getting it into the reports, right?
Oh yeah, like everything is done in such a way that so it looks like on paper. Put it this way, like the Denver Gazette is on their social media. What I've noticed is a trend over the years where like it's so many liberals in the comments just going in and trolling like the few kind of more conservative minded comments from people. And
Hmm.
lately it's like totally switched. And you just have like everyone commenting like make Colorado red again, like vote Republican, like these stats are false, like crime is not better. Like people are literally crying out on social media to be like, this is a false image. The state is falling apart. Denver's already lost.
I would like to see it competitive because I think Karen um, Kennedy. I think she's going to run for office there. She's a black lady that's been on my channel with me, and I'm friends with her actually. So she's her husband died in the military and stuff like that, and her son. So her daughter. I'm sorry, I misspoke. So and anything, I got it's 12:30 here, so a.m. So I probably got to run, but I just want to shout out to Exulansic. They're a wonderful person for anyone listening. In any case, uh, uh, take care, everyone.
Thanks for
Can I
speaking.
listen? Will this be recorded so I can listen to it tomorrow morning?
Yeah, this is a recorded space.
Okay, good. I'll try to catch it while I'm working a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, I
Take care.
record my spaces since the other guy come in and harass me, that threatened me.
Oh, definitely. Also, you need
Yeah.
to prove what they've said too, a lot of times because they
Yeah,
lie.
well, somebody else recorded it, and so they sent it to me, so I was able to still report it.
Oh,
But
okay.
I hadn't recorded it myself,
Okay. Good.
but now I
Thanks.
do.
Thanks for all you do, though. Keep your
Yeah,
chin
you're
up.
welcome.
If you need to vent, I know you're a little bit down at the moment about this whole situation. So I don't, I kind of think it's going to get worse before it gets better for a little while. If you ask
Seems
me.
like it. Seems like that's what they're intent on.
Yeah.
It's unsettling when people are cheering on a horrific, like brutal murder of a young father
I
in
can't
front of a bunch
believe
of college
I,
kids.
I can't believe that
Like, is
they're
this Turkey?
defending it on the left and they're rejoicing in it. It's boggles my mind, actually. So
They've completely dehumanized white Christian men, especially.
Yeah, that's been going on for a little while, but it's at peaking now. So okay,
Yeah.
take care, everyone.
Take
I'll
care.
listen to you later. Bye bye.
Have a good night. Are you back, Mandy, or is your baby still?
I'm here.
Yay! Hope everything's good.
Yeah, he hit himself in the head with his hairbrush and got scared. He's little.
Oh no. Have you tried throwing a piece of cheese at his face?
Oh my gosh.
I heard on TikTok that that's the solution to babies
I
crying.
was like, have you been reading my post? Like, my baby's addicted to cheese. That totally is.
Your baby's allergic to
No,
cheese?
addicted. It's the
Oh,
whole.
addicted. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I don't want to feed a baby addiction to cheese.
There was that meme that was like going around for a while before, and it said something about like to fascinate a woman with a piece of cheese. And I always think of that. Like, now I can't add cheese in his meal unless he has other things first because, yeah, I don't know, it's addictive.
Have you taken him to Chuck E. Cheese yet?
No, I should. He only crawls, so wait till he can walk.
Mm.
Yeah, but he had a late nap and, he's just still up right now, so he's a little crackhead, you know? We're playing. Oh, you hear him? He said, "Mama." That's new.
Oh,
Aw.
how old?
Um, is it this? Oh, in 4 days, he'll be 9 months.
Oh, yeah, that's the perfect age to be transitioning from mama to mima.
Aw.
Being able to do that.
Oh, it's the up and down with the mouth, right? Only, like, up and down, and then they can.
Yeah, like 8 to 10 months, it's like ma, ga, 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 ba, ba, ba is what's normal.
Nice. "Hi" was his first word. I opened the door, there was a solicitor trying to, like, collect money,
Mm.
and he said, "Hi." I was like, "Oh my god, that's not real." And he kept doing it. 6 months old. And he
Aw.
signs, and he seems to have really good language skills.
Yeah, it sounds like it if he understands the point of, like, when you say hello or hi, it sounds like he's developing as expected
Totally. Yeah. I talk to him
or
all
ahead of
day. I'm
time.
always explaining things, and he's awesome. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I should share, Andy No's expose to the space for anyone who hasn't seen it.
What expose?
He did an expose unmasking Luna. Charlie Kirk assassin suspect's alleged lover is confirmed to be trans.
Mm.
So I guess his trans name is Luna.
Mm.
I don't know. I just feel like he's getting thrown under the bus, but he likely didn't come up with this idea independent of them.
Yeah, why did it seem like so many trans people knew um, that this was going to
Right?
happen? Yeah. And that guy in the audience that right away looked back.
The guy in the audience that looked back.
Yeah, there's like this sort of shaggy haired dude who everybody
Oh,
ducked. And he was like, yeah.
oh yeah, I know who you're talking about now. I mean, I've kind of had a mixed reaction to the people posting claiming to have been in the crowd because some of them I'm like, okay, we should be sympathetic. Something really awful happened right in front of her. Most people, I think that was their kind of their first exposure to that kind of content. Like it's not really a front page of the internet kind of content that you just expect to see. It was like I think a lot of people learned a lot of stuff that day about how quickly something like that goes down, and it's just. But some of their responses were just really creepy, just really really creepy. How they seem to be reveling in this being our like Franz Ferdinand moment, and it's really scary knowing what happened in China, what they had to live through when the youth get too much certainty that they need to clear out the older generations to make room for the utopia.
Yeah, you posted some girl with creepy with the poem she was writing about it. Like, what the hell?
Yeah,
Oh. That's what I'm just my biggest question in terms of this has been, like, have this many people always been this mentally deranged, and now just because we have the internet and social media that we could, like, see it? Or is there something going on in society that has, like, increased the numbers of people like this? Because it doesn't seem I don't know. I don't know, I wasn't alive in the past, but I'm shocked at the what seems to be the numbers of people on this crazy side. Also, I have to, get baby ready for bed, so I'm here, but I probably won't be able to speak for a minute.
All right. Hey, Laura, how are you doing?
Hey, it's been kind of a rough day. I'll speak more in a second, but I'm just getting some food right now.
Got it. Yeah, I just figured it would be good to have a space to kind of keep up with this wild news. And of course, there's the comic relief of Hendrix and the Angry Inch in the double reverse that she thought it was timely to post on September 11th at what might have been 9/11 in her time zone. I'm not sure exactly what time zone she's in now. My understanding is that she's traveling.
Wait, I haven't seen. So I saw Prisha make a post about feeling betrayed, but can you clue me in on Hendrix?
Okay, so my understanding is that there's some kind of substance enthusiastic event happening that some people were invited to and declined, and other people were invited to and accepted. And as a product of that, perhaps, or just coincidentally, Hendrix decided that the day after Charlie's assassination would be the day that she would announce that not only is she trans again, she was never actually detransitioning, and she's just in a guerrilla war. And so she declared war on the transphobes. And so since then, she's also tried to convince me that no one ever gave her any sort of money or any sort of financial benefit for these false statements that she made knowingly. And then since then, she's tried to convince me that I live with my parents and I have a trust fund. So these are new facts for me. I'm still trying to come to like nobody will tell me if my stepmother knows. I've asked multiple times. I assume we just live in a large enough house that we don't see each other, and that's why my dad is able to live there with my mom and his new wife. But it's all very murky. I'm looking forward to finding out more. But that's been the comic relief all week because she's
So she knowingly. So is she
yeah,
having a
she said she
BPD
knowingly did it.
moment? Okay, or was this because
I mean, it
it
seems
could
a
go
little
either
bit
way,
like
right?
her justification is that like, see, you guys were only being nice to me because I said I was detransitioning. So you're the bad people. So it does seem a little bit motivated by a fear of abandonment and her response to that. So I don't know if it's BPD or if it's just ASPD and she's just pretending that she had a personal sense that we would betray her, and that's the cover for her more pragmatic motive of gaining intelligence on potential targets in this new war that we're apparently in that involves guns.
Yeah, and then the day after the murder.
Yeah, literally at 9:11 a.m. in Central Time Zone on 9/11.
And has she even commented at all, like, on any current events that have been going on?
I
Like,
haven't been following because I don't know.
yeah,
Some people were suggesting that she might be rolling face, but I have no direct knowledge of that. It would be consistent with the behavior.
and the crazy eyes.
But it's interesting to know that when they gather and indulge, the first thing that's on their core of their minds is the fantasy that I had a happy life where my parents stayed married and we're all rich. I mean, I it's nice. It's almost like they're like a secular prayer.
That's not the
Their
first time that
secular
it's
prayer. Their secular prayer is you.
Is them doing drugs and fantasizing about me living with my parents in a house after having a life with no particular hardship.
So who is they? Who was gathering to do
Deacon
drugs?
It's apparently a deacon's event. It's the word about town from multiple sources who received invitations.
Deacon, that
Deacons, yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Why is this all related? That's such a weird. How is he? I thought he was on the gender critical side.
No, he also retransed and also Hendrix isn't gay anymore.
Like, not a lesbian anymore?
Yeah.
Like they have
Like
sex with
attracted to
women?
men.
What?
Like,
Oh.
not straight, but like now gay trans men, I guess, or bi trans men. So lots of process. This new
Yeah.
normal.
I mean,
But
the
it's like
gracious
that
sex
meme
for
of like,
everyone,
does
right?
anyone have anything to say? Like, I'm trans.
No, literally.
I'm retrans.
I know, man. I mean, I stayed out of it because I'm just like, I'm not just gonna and that's the thing. Like, I hate to say, but you can't trust. Sorry, man, but you cannot trust these people. Like, they need to show a little bit of time of actually being detrans before. Like, I was like, no, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. And if it's true, then she'll be detrans in a few months and she'll be detrans in a year. And maybe then we could have a relationship. But it's exactly because of this. This exact thing is what I was thinking would happen.
Yeah, for me, it was the post about how she was like, thank God my arm hair grew back.
What?
She said she was considering phalloplasty, so she got her arm hair removed on one arm. And so when she was trying to come up with her like detrans regret narrative to legitimize herself as a detransitioner, her medical regret was like, oh, what if my arm hair hadn't grown back? Like, doesn't this raise concerns for you that it did grow back? Isn't that alarming to you? Because you were gonna pee through this.
Oh,
That's
God.
what I was thinking. I
But I don't
know.
think
I was
she's
like,
thought that far ahead.
oh my God.
No. Well, trans people are known for having very good long term decision making.
I mean, I feel like what happened is that it did not grow back, and she was grifting to raise money for this phalloplasty, and that's the real reason she canceled the phalloplasty is that she didn't have her copay. That's my theory, anyway.
How much money did she raise?
She says that not a single soul donated to her, and she is the most reliable narrator right now. And in fact, why would she even need money? Which was also really hilarious to read. Like, what do you mean? Why would you even need money? Are you an adult in a society? Like, what do you mean? Are you independently wealthy somehow? Do you have a trust fund?
She lives with her parents.
Apparently. Get it? Apparently. I'll stop.
Oh, God. Yeah. Okay. So that's been going on. Okay. That's good to know. Anything else?
Oh, I mean, there's the gay trans furry boyfriend, the snitch. So John is probably losing his mind.
As a Christian, as a God fearing Christian, he
Well,
must
he must
have
be
many opinions on this.
pretty sure he thinks he's next. He's the next logical target, right? You're working up to him.
So the furry boyfriend, is it confirmed furry or suspected?
Um, I don't think it's confirmed because the reason that I've seen people say he's definitely a furry is one, he has an animal onesie, which is not enough to confirm someone's a furry, and two, because it's not a fursuit. If anybody needs that explanation, a onesie, an animal onesie, is not a fursuit. It does not make someone's a furry. A lot of people wear animal onesies, but the other reason I don't think he's a furry is because their evidence is that OwO, like OwO might be super old from the early 2000s, but OwO is more recent. It's only in furry culture. No, it's not.
Oh.
No, it's not. OwO and OwO are from the same set of emoticons and the same era. I was exposed to both on ICQ back in the day. It's
Oh,
old.
wow. I can't believe the discourse. I can't believe we're having this discourse.
Yeah, I mean, I thank God I'm old finally. Finally, it came in handy.
I know, right?
anyone needs a Neopets reference, I'm your girl. But that's what I did in my mansion. Well, my parents were upstairs, functioning well and behaving appropriately on a consistent basis.
Now I
Always
know
there,
that's not true.
ready for me to need something. It was very, very safe and secure entirely all the time, especially when the internet woman was living in the garage. But we don't talk about that. We don't talk about how I got into polyamory. It's a long story.
So this man, he's claiming that it was his roommate, not lover.
So the other plot thickening thing is that there's a 3-bedroom unit. So there's also a question of,
Oh,
is the transgender lover in the unit the same roommate as the gay furry who's helping the police, or is there a third secret roommate that we just don't know about because he's that trans?
And you think that the shooter looks more like the roommate than what's his name? Tyler.
No,
Tyler
yeah,
Robinson.
the shooter is Tyler, yeah, and the roommate is Luna, aka Lance Twigs, which sounds like a made up name,
Yeah.
especially
Lance Twigs.
yeah.
I'm eating Chipotle right now, so there's chips crunching.
And also, I just feel like Lance looks more like the pictures of the shooter than Tyler does. I don't know. This is where I'm at. I feel like we're getting played by them.
You think they switched? Like the one did it and
Yeah,
the other one said, "Oh my god."
that's where I'm at, and I think that he's taking the fall for the gay fur boyfriend, because this is a weird fucking story, and it seems like a lot of trans people mysteriously knew. So if the trans roommate just found out that day after the fact, how did all these other trans people know?
What do you
His
mean
name
all
is
these other
Twigs, and he looks twiggy. Case closed.
What do you mean all these other trans people knew?
There's allegations that several accounts posted about something impendingly like big happening, including one who was like a friend of the trans furry boyfriend.
Mm. God, you got to be pretty stupid to be posting that.
They're not.
That's what I
They're not
said.
transing their best. Puberty blockers lower IQ.
I just want to add briefly. So if it's a 3-bedroom and they were dating, we can assume the 2 of them were in 1 bedroom. So that's 2 other bedrooms, right? Not just a roommate. So
If they were poly, they might have had separate bedrooms in order to facilitate being poly. That's I had that arrangement at one point. So your boyfriend can hook up with his boyfriend while without you interrupting your sleep.
They might just be introverts. They need their own space.
Yes, Daniel, I think is how you say your name.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that there is DNA evidence that this guy Tyler did this. So
Wait, how? What's the evidence? Did he stain the roof?
they took a DNA sample from the roof or something like that, and from the weapon.
Ew! What did he do? I don't know. That's terrifying. Okay,
It's got to be from
well
the
that's
weapon,
interesting.
right?
Well, could it have gotten on the weapon another way? Did they cross reference with the first suit? Because we need to sample the first.
Yeah, the first is going to have the answers.
Wait,
I'm
so
just.
you think
Mhm.
Exulansic, you think the roommate looks more like the pictures from the surveillance
I feel
stills?
like it could go either way, and I feel like his chin is pointier than Tyler's.
I'm pretty sure I read that Tyler came home dressed in the same clothes that
Mm.
he was pictured in, and drove a gray Dodge Charger that they had footage of approaching
Oh,
the
I thought he
school.
walked there.
No, he lives like 3 hours from the campus.
Oh,
He used to he was admitted there, and there's that video of him reading the, scholarship letter, but he only attended for, like, 1 semester and dropped out, and now he's been attending, like, a technical college closer to his parents' home.
yeah. Well,
So
do they
he
have
drove
technical
up.
colleges on death row?
Yeah, it was weird. The news reported that he was, like, currently enrolled at, like, as an electrician, apprentice or something. I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know that it's current so much as of yesterday.
Yeah.
But I had a question about Hendrix. You
Hmm.
posted a video from like August 16th, I think, of this year, of
Hmm.
a uh, trans-identified woman named Hendrix who was like the labia pile up
Yeah, it was a
kind of
different
disaster.
Hendrix.
Different. Okay, so there's two.
Well, actually, I think she wasn't even going by Hendrix in that video. It was a reference to the video Hedwig and the Angry Inch, which is a Broadway
Okay.
musical.
Yes.
And so I was like, well, what's Hedwig as a female name? And I was like, well, Hendrix kind of makes sense, like executrix or dominatrix, like Hendrix, right? It's the ending for females, right? So
Okay,
I
got
called
it.
her
Yeah.
Hendrix with the Angry Inch, but that's different from Hendrix, the pissed off lawyer, who's
Yeah,
been
I didn't think that it could be the same
hilarious all
person
week,
because the pissed off
but
lawyer
also
just kind of,
needs to not have guns, I think.
yeah. And so the pissed off lawyer, as far as anyone knows, hasn't actually had any uh bottom surgery.
It was, yeah, she said that she was like on the wait list for phalloplasty, but she's been on a lot of testosterone, so her and others have responded to the testosterone, as did the rest of her.
What it was her angle like, other than being a piece of shit? Like, what information and everything else? What could she have actually have gotten or done or whatever? It's not like stealing industry secrets or some sort of like actual espionage. What was the fucking point?
Yeah, I mean, she just seems like somebody who periodically blows up her social connections due to some underlying psychological reason. She just doesn't like having attachments, maybe, or
Did
I
you
mean, it's
say that
hard.
she has BPD?
I don't know. I don't know if she does. Somebody suggested that perhaps my speculation was actually antisocial personality.
Whoa, that's the worst one.
I mean, it's just it's its own pattern. I don't know that it's necessarily better or worse because there's a saying, diagnosis is not prognosis. Um, but I don't think her prognosis has been that great.
What I'm wondering about that situation is, like, what she's saying is her reason to do it, um, to sort of expose everybody. But the people on the other side, on her, like with the TRAs, like if she's trying to expose people based on how they reacted to that situation, like the other side, those people acted harshly towards her. Like, so I don't know how far she can get with that argument.
Yeah, I mean, her behavior
Hi,
is very
Exulansic. Hola,
maladaptive.
hola, Exulansic, mi amor.
Oh, hello, Vanessa.
Exulansic, I've been kind of mad at you in some spaces, but I still appreciate you somewhat. And Daniel and Mandy, my love, and everyone else. What are you talking about?
We're talking about Tyler's gay trans furry boyfriend, the snitch. Ooh,
Where, why is he important? What, like, what is he? Why we
we were
have to
also
talk about
talking
that
about
person?
Hendrix and the Angry Inch.
That in first place we don't know anything about. What are we, what
Oh, we
why are we
do, we
guys talking
do.
about?
He was trans, and his trans name was apparently Luna.
Huh?
He was trans, and his trans name was apparently Luna.
His transic was his transic was what?
His trans name was Luna.
Oh, Luna. Okay, that's nice. That's a very nice name. So, besides that, what do we have? I mean, me personally, I don't have anything to talk about him. About her, I don't know about them. I don't know them. Do you know them?
Do I know the mass shooter? No, I'm not. I'm not like the
Yeah, don't
governor of
confess anything
Minnesota.
here,
I'm not
girl.
friends with school
Fucking Charlie
shooters.
Kirk.
It
Fucking
makes no
hell.
sense to talk about that
Yeah,
that
Danielle.
person. What did he do? Nothing wrong.
Well, we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah, but in the meantime, the one that we know was the cisgender male that killed Kirk, and we're not talking
Nobody named
about him
Tyler
for
is
some reason.
truly cis.
Huh?
No, nobody named Tyler is truly cis. I've never met a Tyler that couldn't be cracked.
Tyler is
They're
the one that
they're
we
all
need to talk
secretly
about.
trans. It's a
Why?
cursed name.
Exulansic, I have a question for you. Why is it that cisgender males are the one always, committing these mass shootings, while we are focused so much on in trans people for no
2 weeks
reason?
ago,
'Cause they're
there was
male.
it's not a cisgender male in Minneapolis church shooting. So just stop that right now. You're so disingenuous.
Cisgender men are you look it up. They are the top one, of society, the top one group that commit mass shootings. You just look it up.
In the recent past, you're right, but that is changing, and that has changed.
Of all
It is
time,
not.
of
No.
history in the
Things are
human
different now.
history.
Update. Times change. Things move. Things are different now.
Well, that hasn't
Don't do
changed.
this.
That hasn't changed. That hasn't changed. Unfortunately, that hasn't changed.
Just like their sex.
Just like this. Exactly. You understand me. Just like their sex. Maybe if they were trans, they would be different. But no, they keep being cis men.
The one who just killed 2
white
children
cis
at the
men
Catholic
mass
Church who
shooting
regretted transitioning, that was trans. That immediately is like, that's a talking point right here. I'm not saying that disproves you, but you're ignoring that. I brought that up, and you're just wholesale casting it aside.
What did I ignore, my love? Sorry.
Don't call me your love. You can respect me, I can respect you, but don't do that shit.
Okay. What did I miss? What did I not understand, darling?
That 2 weeks ago, there was a male to female transgender person who regretted transition and had ruined their body and social life so much that they felt they had to go and shoot up a church, and they killed 2 children, wounded numerous others, and then killed themselves.
Okay, so what's your point with that? I believe you. I don't have to look over that information.
I'm adding to your data set that you seem to not have a full picture.
Danielle, do you want to go ahead? Your hand's been up for a while. Well, I mean, I think it's pretty self-evident that the reason that most shooters are males who are not trans is just because most males aren't trans, and most shooters are males. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be concerned when there's an obvious like terrorist network forming and carrying out pretty obvious atrocities. And I just don't think that he was acting alone. I don't think it's a coincidence that Hendrik identifies as a guerrilla. There's no lone guerrillas. A guerrilla fighter is part of a group by definition.
Did we see yet where how the inscribed bullets were produced, or if there's more of them, or where those came from?
I heard that there were only 4 inscribed bullets. And one of them was used. So I don't know if there's more, but I assume that he just like etched it. Be my theory.
Oh, you think he did it himself? They weren't being
Yeah.
sold on Etsy by some trans, by what's her name?
It's the new Redux gift.
Not that, but the Elliot's one of Elliot's crafts.
Elliot's crafts, like Elliot Page.
No, Elliot, the
I was like,
the
damn.
mother.
When did she
Elliot, the
start
mother.
carving bullets?
No. Elliot, the mother, the trans identified mother. That Elliot.
Oh, I could see her doing this too. Yeah.
Yeah. She's multidisciplinary.
Yeah. She's been doing seemingly much better since she got the electroshock treatments, and she also attributes it to the electroshock treatments. That's been really interesting to see. I'm glad something finally worked. I hope it's not just an act, but she seemed to have like no inhibition before.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, because I haven't been posting about her so much because she hasn't been posting ridiculous stuff anymore.
Huh.
It's the end of an era. It's always sad when the person you're
Well,
stalking online suddenly gets better, and you have to like
I
let it go.
don't know. Give it some time.
I hope not. I hope the best for her in Salem and whoever she's living with. That guy. I'm a little more suspect of him, but I do wish them the best. I hope she stops lying about Salem being somebody else's kid, though. That's fucked up.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, maybe she's somewhat more uh inhibited, but there's the chronic pattern of lying.
Yeah, it's not clear if that's going to change what's happening in her real life, but at least she's not like talking about her ER admission for 65 stitches.
Right. Yeah, that's an improvement.
And the Salem has survived for multiple years. That's something.
So did we, but I mean, it wasn't ideal conditions.
Mm. Yeah, I wonder what happened in the childhood of Tyler or his the gay furry boyfriend.
I saw some people commenting about the enmeshment of the mother on
Hmm.
his Facebook posts. Like, there was a lot of comments from the mother saying things like, "Oh, my son doesn't want to go on mommy daughter dates anymore. He's getting too old." And other posts that were like, "Well, it looks like Tyler's the only one that will hang out with me. So I guess we're spending time together." And just a lot of posts that give off a little red flags about maybe the mother, some emotional dependency on him.
That's pretty weird. Um, I mean, I think Mormon families in general too. There's some questionable dynamics, questionable attitudes towards children, um, and beliefs about what children remember, beliefs about what's how it's acceptable to treat children, and that's based on just various things, including direct observation. Hey Maya, what's up? Where'd she go? I feel like Spaces has been glitching a lot lately. If anyone would like to come up and speak? Hi, Buster. But yeah, it is kind of funny watching people try to use the shooter's Halloween costume for when he was 15 against him, or using these pictures of this guy wearing like a silly hat. I don't think those are compelling pieces of evidence. What the OwO reference was.
I mean, yeah, I haven't seen anything that proves the furry thing, or but the furry thing is just reminiscent of developmental arrest and a tendency to not live in reality. So whether or not it's furry, I mean, if you're part of the incel culture, that's that rage and that victim mentality, that's really the problem. You only go to the furry thing to get away from that.
I think some people just want to fit in, and I don't know that that it's necessarily a sign of arrested development for them to participate, unless it's persists past a certain age. Like my anime subculture participation, I kind of outgrew that when I was about like maybe 18 or 19. So it's kind of a bit of a red flag if it's persisting into the 20s or 30s sometimes. But some people, that's just what they do. That's just their hobby.
Yeah, of course, and I'm not against the furries, but when there's clustering in all these other ways, I mean trans itself too, right? There's something that's arrested. At
Yeah.
least one part of them is arrested. Yeah, Maya, we were trying to add you as a speaker, but it's not working, I guess.
I'll try to add you as a co-host.
So, do we know that the roommate has like actually gone by that name Luna, at least in like an online setting?
Yeah, that's according to Andy. No.
Okay, and you consider him a reliable source for that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
All right.
I haven't fully read the Substack post about it, but do expect it to be evidenced. He's the one that's been kind of
Yeah, he's like tracking the
connecting the
Zizians and
dots about
stuff.
the Zizians and everything.
Yeah. Well, so
Who are
that's
apparently based really close to me.
if
But since
someone
it's not
wasn't
Portland, it doesn't seem to bother me.
if they weren't claiming like a queer or trans identity, then as a male they probably wouldn't be using a name like Luna, right?
If they were not MTF, yeah. Oh, there's a looks like it may have finally worked with Maya. But yeah, earlier when I was trying to be a speaker in Maya space, it kept kicking me. I keep getting the notification that she accepted, but it doesn't seem like it's letting her up.
I like seeing the three icons, right? Are colored. We're three colored people.
We're of color.
Yes.
We're exercising white privilege by being in front of the color, I think.
Oh shoot, she got bumped down to listener again.
No. Let's see if it'll work this time.
Wow.
Maya's being censored.
Hello?
There she is.
That was so weird.
There's the furries. It's always the furries.
John, are you in this
Someone is
space?
trying to stop us.
You know he is. He's here on an anonymous sock account experiencing massive cognitive dissonance. That now he's been reduced to furry pattern behavior, and no one should trust him.
I mean, if Matt was here, he might be. He seems like he's more obsessed with Matt at this point than you.
Yeah, he's super obsessed with Matt. He's rage posting on Facebook as we speak. Like I've been checking. He's real mad. He's convinced that Matt's been stalking him since 2018 and is part
Why
of
does
the
he have
furry
such a
network.
hate boner for you?
I don't know.
Because she called him out on his BS.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, I guess I can see why he'd hate Matt. Because Matt did all those interviews with his daughter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I mean,
happened.
that'll do
But he
it.
already kind of hated both of us by then.
When your kids expose you for being like a brutal abuser, I mean, I can't imagine that he would be happy with whoever was responsible for facilitating that.
It's like the opposite of the shooter. His dad exposing his son. Also, who is this youth pastor? Because like you think like, oh, I'm just a youth pastor. And then why does he have these connections to like the FBI or whatever?
Yeah, when someone says youth pastor, I picture someone who ironically looks kind of like Hendrix, or it's like they're kind of suspicious, but maybe they're an addict. They're putting their life back together finally. now they're a youth pastor and they can connect with the youths of America and things like that. But then to find out that it's like secretly a U.S. Marshal the whole time, I'm never going to be able to trust my youth pastor again.
Well, I
It
think
remi-
it could have been like in a police community, right? Because isn't the dad like in the police or something? Doesn't he have like some kind of law enforcement connection? So it could have been like, in certain cities, in certain really small cities, like a certain portion of the community could just be involved with like the local, law enforcement. Like they might live next to the station or whatever, and so the church they'd go to, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how any
Could
of
be
this works.
could be just part of the furry network, and he was just trying to cover himself.
No, I think Maya's right. I think I read that like the father of Tyler Robinson was like the sheriff or part of the sheriff's department for 27 years, and same with the youth pastor. So it's sort of like a like someone having a regular job and then doing like Sunday school teaching or something on the side. So they, I don't know, Tyler confessed to his dad that he was the shooter, and then his dad said, "Okay, you got to turn yourself in." And
We gotta
Tyler
go pray
threatened
about it
to,
first. We gotta go to church and pray with the pastor, with Pastor Mike.
well,
Pastor Mike's
Tyler
got to
threatened to
know.
commit suicide,
Of course he did.
and
You're trying to convince me he's cis. I'm sorry. No,
then the
that's
dad
trans
was
behavior.
like, I think the dad had to sort of like physically restrain him and called the the pastor guy, who then I guess relayed to
Dad
the
named
rest of
Chad.
the to police or sheriff's department to like, okay, go pick up the kid. Oh, I had a question because all this furry talk reminded me. Uh, was there ever any update on the purple nurple girl? Like, what happened to
Oh,
her?
she's kind of she seems to be doing some sort of theater, like live action theater on a stage. And
Huh.
she's really not trans posting anymore. She's kind of dropped off of that aspect. Her account's still up, but it's just rarely gets updated. And she's done a couple like paid sponsorships about autism, but otherwise seems like her life is kind of moved forward. She does also still seem to be with that same woman that also got top surgery with her.
Oh,
Okay.
that
Well,
one the one that was crying in the mirror.
Yeah,
someone
the
stop
purple nurple one that I said that
pinching my
I
nipples.
resembled
Yeah.
when I was that age.
Hmm. I feel like I don't know. I feel like you've used that term for a couple of the ladies.
And she was the one in the episode, the autistic mastectochist in the purple nurple purgatory, who couldn't feel her nipples and didn't know where her nipples went, and interviewed her mom or her doctor, I mean, about where her nipples went. Um,
Mm,
and
okay. Yeah,
and
I think I know which one.
in that
The
video,
super
Yeah.
which is one
autistic
of my
Someone
one.
point
earlier
out.
ones, I spliced in a clip of myself debating on UC Berkeley campus with a bunch of people that didn't agree with me, which apparently, according to leftists, means I should have been shot.
Were you a white nationalist?
No,
Hmm.
no, that
And I
is.
guess you can live then.
I mean, some people were
But you
saying that
hate
a few
trans
years
people though.
ago about me because I did some ethnographic work on the Minutemen, and that got
What?
pulled up when they were trying to cancel me over Casegate. Yeah, they were saying that like I'm right wing because like 15 years ago I went down and did a project on some right wingers for a class. That was Claire Graham's brainchild.
Did you ever think that you'd be like that all of us would be this upset about some like conservative leader getting killed
No,
like 10 years ago, right?
no, it's but I thought a lot of things wouldn't be better that got better and wouldn't be different. And we got to tell the kids that they don't know what's coming.
Dude, that's if that's one piece of life advice, that's pretty much always accurate.
Grey's Anatomy theme song time.
How
I'll
does
give
that
you that
go?
song. Nobody knows where they might end up. So,
You might become a conservative. May
well,
become a trad wife.
many people allege that I am already, but I'm sure I just need to give the conservatives time to find a reason to cancel me for standing next to a man in a blue dress or something.
They have better shit to do than that. It's only the leftists that cancel people over. The right wing
lack of
people are too
homogeny.
busy.
Well, the
Hmm?
rad femmes are not right wing. I mean, let's be honest, they're radical feminists. Of course, they're going to cancel you for not obeying their orthodoxy. They're not. It's an orthodoxy. It's a niche kind of somewhat radical ideology. Yeah, I mean, not radical necessarily as an extremist, but radical as in, root causes type situation. And so if you're a radical theorist or activist of any kind, there's a tendency to get sort of, to develop somewhat of an orthodoxy around your beliefs and to be somewhat insular. Like, it's not the rad femmes are not trying to like convert new believers, really. Like,
Really?
they're
I
not
don't
trying to
know.
convert from the entire population. I think they've found their
Well, because they
subsection.
only like half the population.
Exactly, precisely. That's what I mean.
Yeah, the
And that's not to
conservatives.
say that their work is useless. It's just to say that it has limits and it can become somewhat authoritarian, somewhat more quickly than is personally comfortable for me. Yeah,
That's a very polite way to put it, Mara.
I know one of them is going to listen and clip this out of context, but also I'm genuine in what I'm saying. I'm just trying to analyze it because I don't think that this phenomenon that I'm describing or that we're describing is unique to the rad femmes. It's not. It's certain, the more niche your belief system is and the more singular, like the more singular issue focused that it is, the more orthodoxical it becomes. I don't know if orthodoxical, if that's a word, but the more of an orthodoxy your belief system is basically inevitably going to become. Like, when I think, like there was that graph or that what was it, that web looking thing that showed that there was more diversity of belief on the right than on the left. And I think that's because the right has a variety of different values. Like, some of them are like America. So there's like the America First camp. There's the like religious Christian camp. There's like, I mean, it has just become the left has basically just become like, are you an unhinged communist Hamas simp? Or like, or are you not, but you're too like scared because you have like literal Antifa in your party to speak out about the fact that you don't like Hamas and you don't like political assassinations. The left is just wokeism in general is really like polarized the left and made the left like, it's just become so radical and so just hating of a variety of hating of heterodoxy. Like, the left has literally said, no, heterodoxy is bad. You have to believe all the things we believe, otherwise you're like a bigot and we're going to dox you and get you fired from your job. And so all those people have gone over to the right, and so it's just like that has become like, I don't know, for those of you guys who are older than me, what did the Democrat Party used to be like? Like, could you internally disagree? Could you disagree with other Democrats? Like,
Yeah, there
back
used to
then.
be more ideological diversity within Democrats. Democrats used to be the ones that were more willing to act scientific and not willing to say that they believe things that were unlikely. We were very proud of not being the creationists. We were very proud of like wanting science in schools and not wanting prayer in schools. And now it's just completely flipped. I feel like it's the modern Democrats. It's very cult like and mean. Like, there's a lot of just really really mean responses to things that shouldn't be political based on partisan lines, and I can't relate to it.
So yeah, the Democrats, I guess, did used to be the sane ones. That's that's wild. Wow. Yeah, I don't really remember I just that. I mean, I guess it was within my lifetime, but I was so young that I just don't remember it. But that, Jesus, I think, when do you think it started getting really bad? Because like I was coming of age like politically in like 2015, 2016. Yeah, I was like 15, 16. 17, in that kind of range is when I became like when I developed my first sense of political awareness. And that's when it was like already that was the basically the normal that we're dealing with today, but a slightly less extreme version of it because it was just beginning. Um, so I don't know if that's the years, if those are the years when the Democrats became really unhinged. Like,
Citizens United
what,
in
when did it happen?
2010.
2010?
Yeah, I would say that's
That's
when
when
the
they
shift
passed.
happened.
That's when they passed Citizens United, so dark money could fund special interests, and both sides of the equation kind of went crazy with it. But also, I never read the report, but there's this like independent journalist. I think he's based in Chicago, named like Greg Palast or something. And like a year or two ago, I think I saw that he was writing all about Barack Obama and how he just kind of came out of nowhere in for his 2008 uh, you know run for the presidency, and that it was because the Pritzker family was funding him. And so it seems like Obama kind of, you know, tried to get the ball rolling with the, change Title IX to, include or override, um, you know, sex with gender identity. And I think it failed just as he was leaving office. But then Biden, you know, made that the law of the land. So the the Democrats were, I guess, sort of fulfilling their end of the bargain in terms of they got a lot of donations from people like the Pritzkers, and there's so many billionaire um, AGPs. So, and then somehow it all just became tied up. The Democrats, it's a package deal where you can't select, the things that it's like getting old fashioned cable service versus more itemized streaming kind of stuff. And the right still has, you can pick and choose. Anyway, I'm gonna mute myself.
I think there's been some good evidence that in the past the two parties had a lot more agreement than they have now, and now the two parties are essentially the two genders, and they don't agree on hardly anything. And so it's really hard to find common ground because it's just a perpetual tug of war. It doesn't actually advance the multifactorial issue that we need to advance. And part of the issue is that everybody is so high on deconstructionism that they're like just like, what does it even mean to be like a good politician, and don't want to understand what it means that men aren't women, pretending they don't understand that everything's just one big spectrum. Well, if everything's a big spectrum, they're going to be on one end and the Republicans are going to be on the other. And since they're the good ones in their own story, obviously that justifies any manner of stupidity. So it's just, I feel like we're heading into a really dark era, unless something shifts.
Al Gore said John McCain had a pretty decent like climate, policy in his 2008 bid for the presidency. But again, that after Citizens United was passed in 2010, the Republican Party just kind of went into full scale like climate change isn't happening. It's just drill baby drill kind of thing. And then the Democrats abandoned talking about it either because, um, I actually tried to get involved in Extinction Rebellion like in 2018, and then I realized that like it was all just a bunch of uh, trans and queer people around me saying, let's all stand in the middle of the street and block traffic, and here's numbers to call if you get arrested, we'll bail you out. And I was like, I don't trust these people to bail me out.
Yeah, I remember being a teenager on Facebook and back in the olden days when it wasn't just old people who used Facebook. I remember being a teenager on Facebook and everyone was sort of phasing out of that platform. But I do remember like in these like mutual aid groups or whatever, all this like leftist nonsense. Um, it felt so subversive at the time, and every teenager is drawn to that type of that perception that you're doing something like really revolutionary, and it's like wow, and you don't even know what the past is. Like you don't even know what you're rebelling against. You just
Mhm.
you just feel like this is the new way of doing things. Everyone else has gotten it wrong, and you're like, yeah, you know. But I remember seeing exactly what you were describing about like the trans queer legal funds and the people taking pictures, getting arrested, and they would try to put themselves in situations where they get arrested as well. It seems like just for the photo op. And then there was like all this discourse of like, if you're not willing to give up your white privilege to get arrested, then you're like not an ally in the movement. Like all this shit. Does anyone else remember that? That was like that. I don't
Yeah,
really know what
and
politics was
that's
like
why I'm
before then.
questioning whether this was Tyler's idea, because it just seems like he could be part of a group where people are like, well, you should use your cis privilege to like stick up for trans people, so you should be the one to take the shot because it'll be easier if you go to jail and blah blah blah. But yeah, I just don't think he acted alone.
Well, but he also had all those photos of him with like his father with, I think he had a bazooka on his shoulder in one of those pics, and so he
Oh my
really
god,
was sort
imagine
of
if he used a bazooka.
God.
We thought the
Oh,
video that got posted was bad.
I only could watch it once. I saw the far away shot that they initially posted, and then I saw like a more medium shot with the blood, and it was just
You didn't see the close
so
up
no. I
or the
saw that
rear
there were
cam or the
close-ups.
side cam.
I literally blocked my phone screen with my hand and just kind of read what people were saying about it. But I don't need to give myself nightmares like that. But yeah, no,
I've seen enough stuff on the internet that
in terms of the coalitions and stuff, in DC, was where I was at the time, and I was, looking into Extinction Rebellion, and they were trying to. It was like that chapter was founded by a white dude, and he was trying to sort of like get coalition building to get more people on board, and he was partnering with like the Black Lives Matter group in DC, and I looked up their like Twitter account, and there was all these like controversial things about how they were kind of trying to decriminalize uh, prostitution, but it was basically what they were arguing against was prosecuting child traffickers in DC. Like there was like specific cases, sort of like how the ACLU was started fighting for, you know, these AGP convicted rapists to get into women's prisons. And you're just like, what is happening? I can't. How are these people for real?
yeah, like
Um,
when did that become a priority? Because that's what cost Kamala the election. Is no one wants to elect like President Panty Sniffer and putting somebody in a position of power where they're just going to traffic and funnel the money, launder the money, so that it can go directly into the hands of these surgeons that are doing these experiments using prisoners of all people.
yeah.
Like
Oh,
they
and
just
and
want to train. Just want
and
a population we can train on. We can't sue them.
I always wanted to bring this up, but it's also I haven't looked in years. Years ago, I was sort of vaguely interested in maybe one day like adopting a kid or fostering a kid, and you know, it's sad, but you can go on like uskidsadopt.com or something like that and kind of look at these profile photos and sometimes videos and descriptions of the foster kids throughout the country that are available. And it was probably again like back in roughly 2018 when I was looking and I was seeing all of these kids that were like being transed in front of my eyes. Like I'd see some shy girl's profile, and then a couple weeks later, I'd sort of check back in, and she'd be like identifying as a boy named Alex or something. And there was this one 17-year-old boy who was like just a deeply traumatized, deeply disturbed, mentally disabled black man, or black boy, but he looked like an adult male. And his profile said that he's a trans woman. And um I just that they were not only sort of letting this happen, but encouraging this to happen. It's like no one's ever going to want to adopt, this guy, um if you're doing that to him. Like, it just I don't understand how everyone went mad. But it's just there's so many outrageous things that sort of anyone who hears about it should be like kind of shouting from the rooftops kind of thing. And somehow all of these stories have been just suppressed or glossed over, um, in the news in like every Western country. I think, isn't there some gender surgeon in Western Canada who's like bragged about having, I don't know, 150 or 250 foster kids that he was transing? This was several years ago, and it's just no one's up in arms about this. These are like the most vulnerable children, and they're just being experimented on by sadists and sterilized. Anyway.
I have to go from speaker. I'll stay as listener, but I just wanted to kind of ask a question adding on to what was just said. I'm not
Sure.
sure who said it. That's kind of what I was getting at earlier, but in much clearer terms. It was just put, it's like I'm wondering, is this madness that's going on sort of, I know maybe the topic is new, what it revolves around, but like, is it generationally like a new thing that we have this group and this like crazy ideology is happening? Or have we like always seen a subset of humanity that with just like wild, wild ideas and now it's just this? Or like is something happening in the culture that is exacerbating this kind of thing? Because it's not just like that these outrageous things are happening, but we're also seeing like crazy reactions to it or lack of reaction. Do you know what I mean?
No,
Like,
there is something happening.
Mm.
There is something happening. I went to school for I was pushed to go to school, which was fine. I was pushed to do everything I could to get a good college because I was like pushed towards, I grew up Christian, but then my parents went through a terrible divorce, and my dad was like, "Well, you have to go to school because you're not gonna grow up in a world where you're gonna find a good Christian husband. Like that's not gonna happen. Like you have to do your best in school so you can go to college, and you have to do your best there, and you have to get a good job." And he was so adamant about that, and to a point became violent about it, because he was so mad about it. And I get where he's coming from now, which I'm not excusing his violent behavior, but I also understand where he was so adamant about um realizing that I was not going to be able to just grow up and find a husband. So I was pushed towards very much doing the best in school. And that's okay. I mean, that's okay to a point. I wanted to always learn everything and be good at everything. Like, that was how I grew up. I have that personality. However, when I did get to college, I thought I would keep on going with that personality, but instead, I had some of my professors saying, "You're doing such a good job. Like, you're so smart, and you're doing so good. Like, you're good at writing, you're good at speaking, you're good at all this." And then I had so many other professors saying, "No, um, you are not understanding that there are other uh ways of living, and that you need to be against um white people, you need to be against straight people, you have to do this or you're going to fail the class." And they seriously said that to me. And there were so many classes that I had where I would fight through it, and I almost and I mean, I got a worse GPA than I ever should have had, because I thought I was crazy for a long time, because they were saying, Batman was gay and you should be gay and you should show us how Batman was gay. And I was like, what are you talking about? Batman's not gay. He's just a figure. He's just a fake figure. Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, no, you need to show how Batman's gay. You also need to show how um, we need to give Hawaii back to the Hawaiians. And I was like, oh, yeah, we definitely should be better people, but we can't give Hawaii back to the Hawaiians because there aren't enough left. And if we try and do that, then China will come and take over Hawaii. And they're like, okay, well, then you fail this class, so I had to take another class. And then they also said, it like went on and on and on. And they were like, well, if you don't believe in these other genders, then you're going to fail the class. And I was like, well, then I'm just going to have to drop this class before I fail it and have to get another class. And because I was in psychology at that time, like, I'd already taken my histories and everything. And then they put me in, because I was already doing other communication class and also learning German. They thought I was a Nazi, and they put me in these genocide classes thinking that I would learn that genocide was wrong. And I was like, yes, obviously I know genocide is wrong, but because I was saying, no, genocide is wrong, they're like, no, 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 but this kind of genocide is right. And I was like, what are you talking about? This kind of genocide is not right. Like, you shouldn't have genocide on Christians. And so I wrote my paper on don't genocide anybody, not even Christians. And they got mad at me and shut my class off and put me in another class. But I did end up passing. I did end up getting a decent GPA, but only okay. But it was like
What class? What level of school was this in?
this was in college.
What?
Yes. So they had
Well, how
done
were they
all these
genociding
things.
Christians? Like,
Yes,
what
they
was
said
the specific
basically.
thing?
They said basically genociding Christians was okay, and that because Turkey was genociding Christians, I had to stand up for that. And I was like, wait, what are you talking about? Because, like,
Oh yeah, Turkey is really hard to have a Christian church in Turkey.
yeah,
I was
like, because they're
affiliated with a
Muslim
group that,
now. And they were
yeah,
like,
they would just break the windows
mhm.
like pretty regularly, and it was pretty scary to me.
You were there? So, yeah.
Yeah, I lived in Ankara for several months, and while I was there, I did attend a Christian church.
Yeah.
Some of the
So
expats.
basically, what I was saying was like, my aunt got stuck in Turkey, and I also everything you showed me has taught me that the reason Turkey says that there's not genocide going on there and that they've never had genocide in their history is because it's still going on. So they shut my class off, and I was
The
like,
Turks claim they've never genocided anyone?
Yeah.
Wait,
I
Yes,
think the
that's
Armenians
what
did
they're
us some
saying,
injections to
even
that
to the
narrative.
UN. And I wrote the UN after that, and I was like, excuse me, this is what happened in my class, and they shut it off, and they wouldn't answer me back.
wait, and your American teacher
Yes. Well, no.
reaffirmed.
See, that's the thing. This was an American class, and she was my professor, but I don't think she was American. Because she looked.
Okay, was she? What was her nationality? Do you know? Was she an American
I
citizen?
don't
Was she
know.
from somewhere else?
See,
You
I
know what her
don't
name was?
know. Because she did kind of look Muslim.
What was her name? Or
I don't
just one
remember.
of the names? Oh,
I
okay.
don't remember. I'm so sorry. But that was the thing, because I trusted the class, because I was just going through the classes, and I had already been through my psychology classes trying to say like the gay stuff and like the different gender stuff, and I was like, okay, I don't really understand this because we are just people. So why are we like saying like, oh, you have to wear this to be a certain gender? I was like, this is weird, but whatever. Okay, we have gender norms. All right. But then it went to this new class about genocide where they're basically telling me, Turkey doesn't have genocide. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like you just taught me about like the Ottoman Empire and all these other things. Like, isn't this genocide still going on? Isn't that the reason they don't say that there's genocide? Because they're still doing it? And I got shut off from the class. So I know I look at things differently, but I get called an extremist. But I'm like, I'm just looking at what you're teaching me, and I'm saying, like, what's going on. Like, if you say that Turkey has never had any genocide in its past, what are you talking about? Because you just taught me this. You just gave me all the books and everything to write about. And now you're asking me why they say there's no genocide in the past. And that is what Turkey is
But they
saying
said
right
that at
now
the
to the
time. Like
UN.
that's been their mindset for a while. And part of the issue
Yeah.
is Article 301 and not
Yeah.
being able to criticize Turkishness or the Turkish government.
Yeah. Yes.
But
But they're
it's
still saying that.
what?
They're still saying that, and the UN is still on that side.
Yeah.
They still don't have genocide in their past. They still say they've never had genocide ever in Turkey, ever.
Well,
But
'cause
it
they
is
also say that they're
Muslims
different from the
saying that.
Ottomans. They hit mulligan.
Mhm. Yes. And I said, I don't think that's right. And I said that in my college papers, and they cut me out of the class. And I was at CU Denver, University of Colorado, Denver. So it just got cut out. And then they also cut out the German classes, so the thing about the German classes that we had there, we were the last German class in America. And we were being taught how to translate German, and also like this book called Human Smoke. And we were also being taught like the reason the Holocaust was going on at the time. And it was still against the Holocaust. It was still against anti-Semitism. However, we were being shown these like real telegrams at the time. and they cut the classes out, and they're not allowed in America anymore, or Austria, or anywhere else. And the people who are teaching them are banned from Austria. And it's like, okay, but we were just seeing what was going on. I don't think it made us against Jews. It was just telling us, honestly, I think it made me more for Jews at the time, because I was like, wait, shouldn't we like be able to debate with people and like get along with people? But no, they are making it worse now. And now there is a lot more anti-Semitism. So I'm like, and there is people okay with just everybody taking over Turkey, and Turkey has no genocide in their history. So I think everything that was being taught to me that seemed like I was on the wrong side, I feel like I was just saying, no, I think it was good that we were learning the real history and why we are able to get along now. But instead, they said, nope, we're going to cut it all off. And now we have something different. And now everybody has to be trans, and we have to hate Jews, and we have to like let everybody falter to Sharia law. And like, I think it's so much worse now than what I was learning back then. That's my opinion. I don't know. I mean, I guess
When was
pretty
back
open.
then? When was back then?
It wasn't even that long ago. It was like 10 years ago. It was about 10 to 12 years ago.
Oh, so you're like in your early 30s now?
Yeah.
Okay. See, it's been going on for quite a while. Like when I was for the 2011-2012 school year,
Uh-huh.
when I was in 7th grade, that's the year I got into all this trans shit.
See,
But I
that
did
makes
start
sense, though.
taking Arabic. Huh?
But that makes sense. That matches up, right?
I was taking Arabic that year
Uh-huh.
in a public school where it was just a public school. It was not in like Dearborn, Michigan or some shit. And it was an Arabic language and culture program. And it was just like it was the first year they were offering it.
Uh-huh.
Only school in the state that offered this type of Arabic program, public school.
Uh-huh.
Program, it turns out, was funded by the Qataris. And
Oh.
it was funded by the Qataris.
Oh man, that gives
And
me some
basically
questions
all they
about
said,
who funded my
and
trip
the
to
older I
Turkey.
got,
Mm-hmm.
huh?
Because I was on a state department scholarship when I went to Turkey. I wonder if someone funded it. We weren't allowed to go to the east. It's forbidden.
Wow.
Sorry to interrupt.
Maya, what is your age right now?
I'm 26.
Okay. That's what I was trying to ask in the other thing, the other space that you said, but I'm glad it's fine you didn't say it, but I'm glad you're saying it now. But yeah.
It's also in my bio.
Okay.
I'll check
I don't
this.
know. Sorry.
See if you had your hand up for a while. Do you want to contribute?
Yes, I would like to chime in because somebody had asked, is the insanity that we're seeing today and everything, has there always been this fringe in society? I'm going to definitely say that we've always had our fringes in society, but I think part of the problem is that it's actually the internet and mass communication, because it allows ideas to facilitate, including the bad ones. We all have a phone in our hand. Everybody has access to it. And impressionable people, especially children, and mentally vulnerable people can easily buy into a bad idea. And furthermore, it's there in your face. We have audio, we have visual. So it's right at our fingertips. for example, school shooters. I think that a lot of people would never ever think to shoot up another school, but they see a school shooter do it. And furthermore, the media gives them the entire modus operandi and how they got caught. So this next people can build upon a better school shooting. So it really allows bad ideas to facilitate at light speed. It's like setting wildfires. You know, you got a whole bunch of dry grass and sparks flying all over the place, and the whole thing goes up. So I think that's why we are seeing so much insanity, is because we
Well,
are able to readily consume insanity.
well, and I'm sorry to say this. I'm really sorry to say this, but because I am a history buff and I was, as I've explained, doing history through college, um, the world has always had propaganda. And for a long time, America had propaganda to have us be like Leave It to Beaver and all these nicer
You were
things.
pretty hard on the beaver last night, Walt.
Yeah, but we did have Leave It to Beaver and Andy Griffith, where it's like, yeah, you're gonna, you know, and then we had these westerns that were like, we're gonna jail the people that are wrong. And we did have that. And now, like, we can't have that anymore because the world isn't in that. The world doesn't do that. So we have to show what the world is doing and we have to fight the world. However, and this is the hardest thing. And if you do read the book Human Smoke, and like I was talking about a little bit earlier, was and this is where anti-Semitism comes in, because I do not believe it's the Jews' fault, but a lot of people interpret it as that. But I do not believe that it is. However, there are a lot of hard things going on in the world with a lot of different religions, and I personally feel Islam is very violent, and USA was standing up for that for a long time. I just don't think we necessarily did it right, and I think the CIA did it wrong. We took these Arab countries that were actually a little bit more free, and we tried to kind of use Islam against them to take control of some of their resources. And I think every country does things like that in their history. And if you look back, every country does things in history to take over and kind of like use those resources against the country. And I think America did that, and I think the CIA did that. And I don't think it's right. And I think the CIA took advantage or was.
That seems to be where the thing crashed. Here, I'll pop up myself on the screen. That seems to be where the live stream crashed on the whole system. So I didn't cut it off. It's where it ended, basically. So I should be back on later today at 6 p.m. Eastern ish, give or take a little bit. Probably going to do the best of Karen's again, a bunch of them. All right. Take care, everyone. God bless. Bye bye.